A sound soul dwells within a sound mind and a sound body.
Hey Rice Balls! On today's episode of Anime vs. Manga, we are going to be talking about Soul Eater. So, I have seen Soul Eater before and have been very familiar with the franchise and the story and the characters. When I decided to do a anime versus manga, I was a little hesitant only because there's a lot of manga, and I was really worried that they were going to be so different that I was going to have to read the entire manga in order to give an accurate report on how different or how similar they were. But as I was kind of skimming through, I noticed that, especially in the beginning, they were extremely similar, which saved me a lot of time. So sorry if you hear some shuffling. It's my little piece of paper. I just took some notes so that I can remember all the things that I want to tell you guys. So if I look down periodically, that would be why. So the first thing that I have on my list is in all capitals, and it says fan service with 3 exclamation points. There was so much! It was like mind-blowing in the manga. I was shocked. And now I knew that in the anime, you know, they had those Blair is a huge fan service character, and I'm pretty sure that's her only purpose, really. And I knew that that was coming, and I expected that. But then Tsubaki, who is Black Star's weapon, she had several fully nude scenes, and she would do battle and all this stuff and pose really sexy in like convenient places where the hand is placed, and you know what I'm saying. And I was just like, alright, you know, it's not the worst I've seen, and I just continued to read. And then came the part where who is it? Soul Eater gets hurt, and they find out, all the friends at the school. So they find out, and Tsubaki just so happens to find out in the women's gym, or what is it called? Gosh, what is it called? In the women's spa, like, or the changing area. So Tsubaki finds out in the women's locker room! That was the word. So Tsubaki finds out that Soul has been severely injured in the girls' locker room, and she just so happens to be completely naked, along with 3 or 4 other women. Now, this wasn't just like one scene where they're just briefly naked in the manga, it carried over. So there were multiple drawings and multiple shots of these girls, including Tsubaki, one of the main characters, fully nude, just hanging around. In the beginning part of the manga, I gotta say, there were at least 10 or more images of naked women. That's how severe the fan service was in the beginning of the manga. It was crazy to me, and it makes the anime look like child's play. I can't make this stuff up. So anyway, back on track. The accuracy between the anime and manga is extremely accurate up to chapter 74, and I forget what episode in the anime, but the Baba Yaga's castle. When that story starts rolling, that's when it starts to change on both sides of the spectrum. Baba Yaga's castle, you know, we get to the big witch, Arachne, and she gets killed by Ashura, and Ashura takes her soul as a way to strengthen himself. But that's not the case at all in the manga. So Maka is actually the one who goes and fights Arachne, and Soul actually eats her soul in the manga. So Soul actually does get a witch soul at this in the manga, whereas in the anime he never gets that opportunity. Another thing that I found interesting was that another witch was also killed, and that was Medusa. So Medusa gets killed, but she gets killed like 5 different times. So even I'm still confused. I don't even know if she's still alive or dead at the end of this thing. She gets killed and I think it's by Maka at this point she gets killed. Because prior to that, it was Stein, just like in the anime. And then she's in the child's body after that, and she's looking for a new host. So once Arachne gets offed, Medusa takes Arachne's body so that she's able to have an adult body again. So that starts, and then she starts mixing up a whole lot of trouble for the rest of the series in the manga. Another thing that I found really interesting was that the anime does go into Krona's side of the story, and I always felt like the anime was only brushing upon it, that there was something missing, and going through and reading the manga, I really found out how intertwined Krona and Maka's storylines are. Like, they're really close, and Krona ends up helping her a lot in terms of finding that extra power to beat Ashura. Yeah, it was really cool, and the whole Black Blood situation, how he was going through it, and there was a moment where she was really falling into the Black Blood, and Krona rescues her and kind of sucks her in and gives her motivation to power through and not give in. So another thing along with Krona's storyline is that he's kind of going through all these hallucinations because of the weapon and the Black Blood inside his body, and one of those visions is that he kills Medusa. Not just like, oh, here's a sword to the heart, like, butchers her. It was really intense and violent. I personally felt like that is her perfect way to die, by Krona's hand. I feel like if she were to finally get killed, that would be the perfect way to do it, because Krona has every reason to want to get rid of her and out of his life, because she had been controlling him and tortured him as a child. I mean, no one's got a better reason to kill Medusa than Krona. So moving on to Death, the kid. At the end of the manga, actual Death, Lord Death, dies. So then Death the kid takes over in his place. So he takes over the school, and he's in charge of the DWMA and all of the things that go along with it. And Liz and Patty become his right-hand meisters. He kind of makes this big speech at the end, and, you know, sing about a new tomorrow and all this other stuff. So they kind of just end it there. Another thing that I thought was really cool was that in the manga, Stein and Mary are having a baby at the very end. They allude to having a child, and actually Stein referred to the child as a new test subject, which kind of makes me feel uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie. So that's kind of creepy, but very Stein, so I can't fault him for that. Another similarity between the manga and the anime is that we never meet Maka's mom. She's talked about since episode 1, and she's this big, you know, Meister who, you know, is legendary and has all this power from a young age, and then we never meet her. She's never known, there's no pictures of her because she hasn't been in the manga or the anime, so she's just like this ghost character that we're never gonna get to know because the manga's finished, and I haven't heard anything about them making a new anime version. So Maka and Sol. There are people who ship them, there are people who don't, but there's no romantic ending for them. It's just kind of laid out. So they were never really super romantic. I could see them more as partners. I don't necessarily ship them as couples, but that's just kind of how it ended. There was no alluding to them getting married or getting together, so sorry if you guys ship those two, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I did some research and I found some articles about talking about new shows, and I got really excited, thinking that they were gonna either redo it or do an extended version using their own storyline for the anime, but it was just that for that new show, it's called Soul Eater Not! ! And it's a prequel with all of the characters that we know and love in it. So it's kind of like a filler type of anime series. I'm not really too interested in it, to be honest. So now that was kind of the manga part, we're transitioning into the anime. It was like I said before, the anime was very similar up to Baba Yaga's castle, that storyline. And then it starts going into more of Ashura and Ashura taking over and what are we gonna do? There's this big scary guy, he's super powerful, and the whole time I'm watching, I'm just not convinced. Like that would be the greatest thing I could say. I'm just not convinced that he's such a scary dude. And then the final fight comes, and I'm expecting, I mean, they moved the entire town to go to this battle, so I'm expecting this huge thing to blow up between Manga and Ashura. And then I get there, just so disappointing. It was just, I can't even, like, it was so disappointing how the fight ends. So basically Maka tries her hardest, pulls out all the techniques she's ever learned, all those special things. Ashura still can't be defeated because of her fear, and Ashura's, you know, doing things to make her fear level go. And then all of a sudden Maka's like, no, you're the one who's afraid. I'm sorry, what? She starts talking to him, and they're talking, like, full out dialogue, like he said, she said, in the middle of this fight, in the middle of him breaking everything, the earth is broken, and she starts yelling at him, and her words are what defeat him. And her words not only defeated Ashura, but they defeated me. I was let down. Oh, I was expecting so much more. Oh, animation! How could I freaking forget animation? So I was going through the manga and kind of looking to see how the art styles differed and how similar they were, and they're very similar, but I have to say there were some scenes in the manga that I was like, this doesn't really look like the kind of art style. I feel like the anime really bumped up the animation, the kind of art style that they were going for. They gave it more of a creepy vibe. I'd say it's more of like a Tim Burton kind of infused into the anime, which I think really worked in the anime because a lot of it was kind of Halloween-y and scary, and I feel like that really worked in the anime, and I feel like that sold it more, was because the animation was so different and it was so unique and it made you want to watch it even more, and you really got sucked in because all the characters had different stories. So I feel like that was their big hook for the anime, was the animation. So anyway guys, I think that's it. If you have any other questions for me, or if you want to let me know what I missed, or you know, there were a couple things that I was iffy on, because I didn't read the manga all the way through, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. There was a whole lot of manga, so I just kind of was skimming, and the website I was using was jumping chapters, so I might have gotten some things mixed up. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to stay tuned to some more anime versus manga videos. And like it if you liked the video, obvi. And have a great day, Rice Balls. Alright, I'll see you soon. Bye.